Most parents don't realize this, but the moment you say, "Good job," something subtle happens in your child's brain, and once you see it, you'll never be able to unsee it. This isn't about being strict, and it's not about being cold or withholding praise. It's about understanding how children build confidence from the inside instead of borrowing it from you. Because the truth is, good job feels kind, it feels supportive, and it feels like love, but over time, it trains your child to look outward for validation instead of inward for belief. And that one small shift quietly follows them into school, friendships, and eventually adulthood. Most parents only notice the damage years later when their child becomes afraid to try, afraid to fail, or constantly asking, "Is this okay?" before trusting themselves. Imagine a toddler stacking blocks. They're completely absorbed, focused, experimenting, failing, trying again. Their confidence at that moment is pure. It comes from curiosity, not approval. Then we step in and say, "Good job." Their eyes flick toward us. Just for a second. That second matters. Their brain learns something new. The value of what I am doing isn't fully mine anymore. It belongs to the reaction I get. Over time, that flick becomes a habit. They finish a drawing and immediately look at your face. They answer a question and wait for your nod. They stop trusting their own internal sense of "I did this" and replace it with "Did I please you?" And no one tells parents this because it sounds backwards. Praise is supposed to be good. Encouragement is supposed to help. But encouragement that replaces internal motivation weakens the very confidence it's trying to build. Children are born with an internal compass. They feel satisfaction naturally when they master something. That feeling is fragile in early years, especially under age 7, when the brain is still wiring how self-worth works. When praise is vague and outcome-focused, like "good job," it interrupts that wiring. The child doesn't learn what they did that worked. They only learn that approval arrived. So next time, instead of focusing on effort, exploration, or persistence, their brain focuses on repeating whatever gets that reaction again. Confidence becomes conditional, and conditional confidence is incredibly unstable. It collapses under pressure, criticism, or comparison. This is why some children who are praised constantly still become anxious perfectionists. They're not confident. They're careful. They're trying to protect the approval they've learned to rely on. They hesitate before answering questions. They avoid hard tasks. They melt down when they fail, not because failure hurts, but because failure threatens their sense of worth. And parents often respond by praising more, thinking the child needs reassurance, which only deepens the loop. The child doesn't need more praise. They need ownership. Real confidence grows when a child feels, "I figured this out," not "I was approved." The brain remembers effort far longer than compliments. When a child struggles, persists, and succeeds, the dopamine release comes from mastery. But when the reward comes from your words instead of their experience, the dopamine gets outsourced. Over time, the child stops chasing mastery and starts chasing validation. This is why "good job" can feel motivating in the moment but becomes weakening over years. Many parents worry that if they stop saying "good job," their child will feel unloved or unappreciated. That fear is understandable, but it's based on a misunderstanding. Children don't need constant praise to feel loved. They need presence, attention, and accurate reflection. When you describe what you see instead of judging it, you give their brain something much stronger than praise. You give it meaning. Saying "you kept trying even when it was hard" tells the child what part of themselves to trust. Saying "you figured out a new way" tells them their thinking matters. These statements don't steal ownership. They reinforce it. There's also a deeper emotional layer here that most parenting advice skips. When children rely on external validation, they become emotionally dependent on it. This doesn't just affect confidence. It affects boundaries, relationships, and self-respect later in life. Adults who are overpraised as children often struggle to say no. They struggle with criticism. They confuse approval with love. They stay in unhealthy situations because they learned early that being liked equals being safe. None of this is intentional on a parent's part. It's a slow drift that starts with good intentions and simple words repeated thousands of times. Another quiet effect of good job is that it teaches children to perform instead of explore. Exploration is messy. Performance is safe. When kids perform, they choose tasks they know they'll succeed at. When they explore, they take risks. True confidence is built through exploration, not performance. A child who is constantly praised for outcomes learns to avoid uncertainty. A child whose effort is noticed learns to lean into it. That difference shapes how they approach challenges for the rest of their life. You might notice this showing up when a child asks for help too quickly. They haven't even tried yet, but they're already looking for reassurance. Or when they abandon an activity the moment it becomes difficult. Or when they say, "I can't do it," even though they've done harder things before. These aren't signs of laziness or lack of ability. They're signs that confidence was externalized too early. This doesn't mean you should never praise your child. It means praise should be specific, grounded, and connected to effort or process, not approval. The brain needs feedback, not judgment. Good job is a judgment, even when it's positive. It tells the child how to feel instead of helping them feel it themselves. When children learn to recognize their own progress, their confidence becomes portable. It stays with them when you're not in the room. That's the goal. One of the hardest moments for parents is watching a child struggle and not jumping in with praise or rescue. Silence can feel uncomfortable, but that silence is where confidence grows. When a child finishes something and you pause, you're giving their brain space to register accomplishment internally. When you ask, "How does that feel?" instead of saying "good job," you shift the focus inward. That one question builds more confidence than 100 compliments. There's also an important difference between encouragement and evaluation. Encouragement supports the child's experience. Evaluation ranks it. Good job is an evaluation. It puts you in the position of judge. Over time, the child hands you the scoreboard to their self-worth. Encouragement keeps the scoreboard inside them. It says, "Your experience matters more than my opinion." Parents often ask, "But my child loves hearing good job. Shouldn't I give them what makes them happy?" Short-term happiness and long-term confidence are not the same thing. Sugar makes children happy too. That doesn't mean it should be the foundation of their diet. Confidence needs nutrients, not just sweetness. It needs struggle, reflection, and self-trust. If this feels uncomfortable, that's a good sign. It means you're unlearning something that was normalized but not optimal. Many parents were raised the same way. They grew up equating praise with love. So when they stop praising, they fear they're withholding love. But love is not measured in compliments. It's measured in how safe a child feels to try, fail, and still feel worthy. Over time, when you stop saying "good job" and start reflecting effort, something shifts. Children become more engaged. They talk more about what they're doing instead of waiting for your reaction. They take longer with tasks. They recover from mistakes faster. They stop asking, "Is this right?" and start saying, "Look what I figured out." That sentence is the sound of real confidence forming. And here's the part most parents don't expect. Your relationship with your child becomes calmer, less pressure, less performance, more connection. You're no longer responsible for constantly lifting their self-esteem. You're supporting its growth instead of supplying it. That's lighter for you and healthier for them. If you've been saying good job for years, don't panic. This isn't about guilt. Children are resilient. What matters most is what you do consistently going forward. Even small changes in how you respond can rewire how a child experiences themselves. Confidence is not fragile. It just needs the right environment to grow. So the next time your child shows you something they're proud of, pause before you speak. Let them feel it first. Then reflect what you see, not what you judge. You're not taking something away from them. You're giving something back. You're giving them ownership of their effort, their progress, and their worth. Because the strongest confidence isn't built from being told you're good. It's built from knowing you can try, struggle, learn, and still believe in yourself. And that belief is something no compliment can replace, but every parent can protect.